Totally Nonsense on Nonsense News Nation. Totally.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids and cadets, to another riveting edition of Nonsense News Nation. I'm your host, Brandon. Who are you? Who's my co-host?
Hi, Brandon. Hello, Brandon. This is Scott Phantasm of the Phantasm Tribe.
You know, speaking of being a tribesman, Scott, you recently imparted some knowledge my way that blew my mind about your Hebrew name.
That's right. And sometimes you introduce yourself with your Hebrew name, which is privy.
When I'm feeling a little Jewish, you know, Pesach is coming, and maybe I'll feel a little more Jewish then. But anyway, you told me that your Hebrew name is Shmuel, which means God heard. But anywho, my name was Shmuel. I changed it in Israel to Shmuel Melech, which means God heard, and Melech means king. So God heard the king. Who is the king? I don't know.
Julian.
I'm a Baron of Sealand. Anyways, it's been quite a long time since we've been doing this shebang, right?
We started doing it years ago, but we haven't uploaded an episode or recorded one in about 6 months. No, that's not true. We recorded an episode about 3 months ago about Beanie Babies that never went to air.
That's right, the lost Beanie Baby episode. That'll be something we'll allude to for the rest of old time. The lost Beanie Baby. Don't worry, it wasn't very good. But anyways, we're here now. A lot has happened. I've been. What have I been doing? I've been working. I've been eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Sometimes snack is a bit bigger. But I'm taking a break from eating to be with you guys today. Scott, what have you been up to?
Brandon, I've been up to a lot of stuff. I've been up to a shoulder injury, actually, that is going to require surgery tomorrow as of recording this. I've also recently graduated from audio school in Florida. I lived in Florida for a year, and I came back a couple weeks ago, and it's really good for us because now our levels are going to sound really good.
That's right. He's official, so if the podcast sucks, hold this man accountable.
Just hold me accountable?
Accountable. Don't eat me.
Please, if any of you have any discrepancies with the audio, please don't eat me. Just talk to me about it. We can resolve it.
Please bring it to Shmuel. Which one? No, both of us.
I'm Shmuel, too. Speaking of Nonsense News Nation and getting back to the original formula.
Right, welcome back to the Nonsense, my nation. We got some good stories, and today's theme is, it's inspired by a story that Scott has, so he'll go first, but it's going to be about crazy shenanigans that happen during city council meetings. Now, usually, these council meetings are very uptight. You have these bourgeois boomers around. Just occasionally, Scott, you get some weird people coming on these city council meetings to say some pretty wacky things, and that's where we come in, to recount the nonsense. So, Scott, take it away.
I'd love to, Brandon. Thank you. So, the first story I'm going to be covering happened on Tuesday, March 15th, in Plano, Texas. And I watched the video of what was happening at this city council meeting. And one of the top comments was, "This is not the most exciting thing to happen in Plano that week." So it says something about that city. But I digress. Internet comedian Alex Stein, also known as Primetime Stein Online, performed a pro-Ukrainian rap at the city council meeting there in Plano, Texas. Brandon and I don't really like to talk about politics on this show. Apparently, Alex Stein feels the same way because he took a very serious topic and did something nonsensical, which was rapping. And not only was he rapping about pro-Ukrainian issues and what's going on with the invasion, he was also dancing and gyrating his hips, and he's like at the podium in front of a council of about 10 or so members, and at some point while he's rapping, he just like jumps and turns around and starts like shaking his rear end and gyrating his hips.
I'm in a booth, spitting on the mic. Anti-vax. Putin hates all of them blacks. Putin is a bad racist. Put him in the ground, white or brown. And I'm in plain old town. And you know you just got found. I'm a pimp on a blimp. Eating lots of steak and shrimp.
So as you can see after this rap, he's clearly very passionate about what's happening, and he's kind of taking a very serious subject, making it lighthearted and finding the nonsense in it. And believe it or not, this is not the first time he's done something like this. This guy, Primetime Stein 99 online, he has entered many city councils before, doing nonsensical, crazy stuff. I think Alex Stein and me and Brandon would all get along very well. We have pretty similar senses of humor. He's got a YouTube channel, and it has over 60,000 subscribers, and I was checking it out, his videos. I mean, most of them are just kind of blogs. Most of his videos are pretty much just him talking about things he finds important, but he's also a little bit of a comedian. He'll like I said, he'll go into these random. Half of the time, he doesn't even live in these cities, right? So he'll just hop online in like a Zoom call, or he'll go in person sometimes and just do some bizarre, crazy crap to get the attention of all the boomers who just don't really understand his humor.
It's really funny. He was like screaming. It's like one of those big church people, like those mega churches. The pastors, like, shaking around and freaking out, and he's doing it unironically.
And speaking of unironically and like Gen Z humor and stuff, he does say this.
I'm a Zelensky stan!
Do you want to explain to our audience what that means, what it means to stan somebody, if you know what that means, Brandon?
To stan someone, I think it's a very personal identification. Dare I say, some kind of love, some deep, insane, borderline romantic love for that person.
It means to be a very overzealous, dedicated fan to somebody or something. Well, specifically a person, because you stan that person.
Well, I want to talk about standing. People say that Stan is the man, so Stan is important. Let's keep talking about stands here. So you could stand people, Scott, but can you stand food? Is that possible?
As long as you can be a fan of it, yeah.
Well, when it comes to food, specifically fast food, there are events that happen throughout the year where people very much stand. McDonald's is, most notable for it. You think about like the Shamrock Shake or something, or maybe the filet fish, but what really is so euphoric and stannable is the McRib. It's this classic elusive thing. It's kind of like a Phantom of the Night. But to a McDonald's lover, the McRib is the difference between a happy meal and a sad meal. And so this is an older story I have over here from unbrandednews.com. It's a woman begging city council to bring back the McRib.
In 1982, a boneless barbecue pork sandwich was introduced to the United States, and it was available for only a limited time during the fall, which is called the McRib. But this year, McDonald's, they decided to give regional managers the power to decide whether to sell the McRib at their locations. And apparently only 55% of McDonald's franchises nationwide have chosen to sell the McRib.
She describes herself as a McRib activist. So she said the removal of the McRib from the menu has affected my family.
The nearest sandwich was seen in the Bay Area, and to be honest, like the removal of the McRib from the menu has affected my family, because every Thanksgiving my family would like order a 50-piece chicken McNugget and like 10 McRibs. It was like a tradition in our family. And now it's like my family's holiday spirit's kind of messed up and broken.
Thanksgiving is a holiday where people come together. You usually think Thanksgiving turkey dinners, but you can't always afford that, so you go to McDonald's. And you want to treat yourself to something good on Thanksgiving. So anyways, Scott, you don't think that the McRib is worth talking about for a city council meeting?
I really appreciate her passion.
I do.
Coming out to a city council meeting to speak about what's important to her, even if it may not be important to me or to Brandon. She cares enough to stand up for the McRib. And
she doesn't, Scott. I respect and appreciate how you were going to edit my long pauses in the video. I appreciate that.
What I went to school for. It's what $20,000 went to. So
Thank you.
So I could learn that I didn't even have to do that. I could just press Command U.
I command you to tell me your next story, Scott.
Great transition, buddy. Excellent. All right, so this is my second story, 2 out of 2. On January 19th of this year, a man donning a red circular nose, white face paint, and a red curly-haired wig voiced his concerns during a virtual Portland, Oregon City Council meeting. The man in clown attire, who went by the name Ronald Grimaldi, put on a show. Let's just say he put on a show for about 2.5 minutes while in this virtual city council meeting. He was allotted 2 minutes to speak his piece, and during his time he poked fun, a lot of fun, at Portland Mayor Edward Wheeler.
Hello, Council. My name is Ronald Grimaldi, though I'm perhaps more well-known locally as Ronnie the Clown. I want to thank you for having me here. It really means a lot to me. As someone in my profession, Mayor Wheeler has been a great inspiration to me.
This is actually totally fake. This guy just put on an act saying he was a professional clown to essentially voice his concerns with his city's handling of all the affairs. I don't exactly know. I don't live in Portland. I don't really know what's going on in Portland. Ronald Grimaldi isn't a real clown. He's just putting on a show. He's putting on a circus, so to speak. It's a satirical piece.
Did you see the people's reaction, the boomers' reaction, part of the city council?
Deadpan.
There was no smile. I mean, this is a clown.
There is a point during the video where one of the city council members smiles and chuckles a little bit.
Okay.
Because there's a point in the video, Ronnie the Clown is talking about how he's had to resort to busking on the street, make money that way to help support himself during the pandemic because there weren't any parties happening, of course.
The raison d'etre of my presence at this civic meeting of the Portland community is to address the multitudinous issues that I and many executives similar to myself have been experiencing amidst the ongoing pandemic. For one, as numerous individuals of our community have been out of work, busking has been a source of income. This reliance on pedestrian income is already unfortunate without the problem the PPB produces. The police crackdown on public busking has forced me to rely on inferior art forms such as miming and jesting for alternative incomes. This won't be as much of a problem when the pandemic ends and I can go back to gigging as a party clown, but, honk on wood, as I like to say.
Honk on wood, as I like to say, in reference to hopefully soon he will have work again. He was making more fun of Mayor Edward Wheeler.
I, as a member of the Clowning Society of America, would like to nominate Mr. Edward Tevis Wheeler for Clown of the Year and immediately instate him as an honorary clown commissioner.
That was pretty good. I'm surprised, I don't think anyone was laughing at that point, but I thought it was hilarious. I was terrified of clowns as a kid. I mean, now I can get a good laugh. I saw the Batman last night with my girlfriend, and I was kind of nervous because I'm not going to spoil the movie, but there are times where people are shot or beaten or there are explosions happening, and every time there's someone in the background with this Joker laugh. And this isn't a funny movie. And that was the one time my fear in clowns came back because I thought the Joker was behind me. But I'm glad this guy could bring the joy of clowns into city council and maybe bring some love of clowns back into my life.
Before you do go into your next story, there is one last thing I want to say.
Okay.
So, what's crazy about this story, about 75 minutes after Ronnie left the Zoom call, the meeting was still going on, and Alex Stein, otherwise known as Primetime Stein 69 online, he joined this same exact meeting, 75 minutes later, and he was dressed up as a doctor. He was wearing a mask, gloves, a smock, and he was rapping about how important it was to get vaccinated.
Either needs to get paid by the city council to do the stuff. That must have been a legendary city council meeting for the history books.
Dude, 2 memes in one.
So I guess the thing that we can all agree upon is that clowns are funny. But it's not funny, Scott.
What?
Diarrhea. Diarrhea sucks. But usually when you have diarrhea, you have, a toilet bowl, maybe even a bucket to help you out. But what happens when you're driving, Scott? What happens when you're on the road? You got to go to a city council meeting, and you're kind of one of those officials that need to be there. But you're feeling a little rumbly in the tummy. What do you do?
What do you do, Brandon? Tell me.
So the thing about this guy, it's a city council member. Reportedly, he drove over 100 miles per hour, and his reasoning was he said he had diarrhea. Have you ever had the runts that bad where you're willing to risk your life? Have you ever been there, Scott?
when I was 10, I was at a sleepaway camp. I was eating at the mess hall. My fellow cabin mates. We were eating. I think it was dinner. And suddenly, I felt it. But for whatever reason, I didn't think to use the restrooms within the mess hall. I told myself I need to run all the way back to my cabin now. I guess it was such an emergency. I didn't think about the logistics. But Brandon, when I say this cabin was far from the mess hall, it was really far. I ran probably for like 20 minutes holding in this diarrhea, and I just barely made it to my cabin. Our cabins were on this prairie, and I ran into my cabin, and after I was done, I realized I could have just used the bathrooms in the mess hall. I can feel for this guy. I relate
When
to
you're driving 100 miles per hour, I don't think you have 20 minutes.
He was on his way to the meeting?
I actually don't know for certain, but I know that he was an actual member. He's someone who's actually important. And this is actually in Japan. That's the interesting thing. But anyways, you had the diarrhea problem at your camp. I had the opposite problem back when I was in my sleepaway camp. I was like 11 years old. My problem was constipation. So I was what you would refer to as a shy pooper. I just didn't want to do it around people. I wanted to be at my own home. I wasn't home. I was with a bunch of strangers. Strange boys sleeping in a cabin together. So I refused to do it. I had the normal meals. So the urge to go was there. It was always there, but I just refused to not go. My body told myself no, and I think I clenched my butt cheeks every single day. But anyway, back to the story. This man had diarrhea. So it says that Hooray, who was elected into his position earlier that year, has admitted to his allegations and has even spoken to Japanese media outlets in order to explain his actions. And he said, quote, I had diarrhea, so I was in a hurry to get to a bathroom. I regret my actions and will drive safely in the future. I think he also said, I was on my way to Iota when my stomach started hurting. And so I hurried because I wanted to go to the bathroom. I will abide by traffic rules in the future. He seems sorry about it. He seems like, next time I will do better. You could say it's an excuse, but I think everyone's had diarrhea. Everyone knows what it feels like. He was experiencing pain in his stomach. He probably, as a city council member, he probably has some expensive leather in his car, and he doesn't want to mess that up. We will end our little show on a very crappy note. Any last thoughts, my friend?
I'm glad we're back.
I don't feel like I'm going to run away and have diarrhea. I feel like I want to stay here and enjoy a nice McRib with you. I want to clown with you. I want to wrap this story up. See how I just wrapped everything together?
Just like Alex
Wrapping
Stein.
clowns, McRibs, and
Project
diarrhea.
Einstein.
I put it all together. Guys, thank you so much for coming back with us. I know I had fun. It seems that Scott's smiling. He had fun too. If you want to hear more from us, I sure hope you do. We're on TuneIn, Anchor, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, all the places you can get podcasts, more than I could really think of here. We have a website, nonsensenewsnation.com. That is nonsensenewsnation.com. And if you want to contact us personally and talk to us about McRib, maybe you have a song you want to sing to us about it, we'd love to hear it. Email us at nonsensenewsradio@gmail.com. That's nonsensenewsradio@gmail.com. Once again, I've been Brandon.
I've been Scott.
And this was Nonsense News Nation. We'll see you on the next podcast. Peace and love.
See you.